We just like to give it a couple more minutes because we get folks that try to come in and, it's like they get technical issues and stuff. Today, I'm really pumped because today we get into one of my favorite subjects, which is planning. I don't know why. I am probably one of the most unorganized people in the world, so I have a staff for that, but I love to plan things. And I've learned over time that I come up with these ideas. And so because I'm unorganized, before I'll come up with these ideas and then they would just be ideas, right? And then all of a sudden I was like, well, if I want these ideas to come to fruition, I think about them and hope they happen in my, interim of speaking about them. So I started to really start planning things, and then I really got a liking for it. And I have a very unique way of planning things, and I'm going to share some of that with you guys. And I'm also going to kind of tell you how I like to do it. Maybe you'll do it that way. Some of you are a little more techie than I am. So maybe you'll do it on your computer and have spreadsheets and like cool stuff like that. So if you guys understand disk profiles, my S's and my C's, you're going to have Excel spreadsheets and like documents and all kinds of stuff. It's going to be well organized in a Google Drive and like all this other stuff. And if you're like me, that is a 99.9% D and a 99% I. You're just, if you're that guy, you have paper and you like spread it out and you like match one paper to the other and all kinds of stuff. So I'll tell you my method. It may or may not work for you, but take it and run with it and see what works for you. But the format is the same, whether you're going digital or paper. Format's 100% the same. So I want to share with you that this is going to be a two-part series. So that being said, the two-part series is going to be today and next week. And then I'm going to cut off for the rest of the year because I don't think you guys are trying to show up right before Christmas or in between Christmas and New Year's. Maybe you would. I don't know. Some of you are sadistic like me, so you might show up. But I feel like it's going to be a smaller group. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So before we get started, I wanted to share a couple things with you, and I'm going to share my screen with you real quick because I often get asked, "Hey, Dave, I forgot, I forgot, or I couldn't make it to the course or whatever, to your class. Where do I get the recording?" And so we don't make these recordings public on platforms like YouTube. All of these recordings are inside of our Freedom Coaching platform. So real quick, I just want to show you what that looks like because some of you have asked me about that. And it gets a little confusing sometimes because people will say, all right, Freedom Coaching platform, like what's that? I come to your weekly, like, okay, what else is there? So Michael, if you could type in the chat group, there's a website. It is thefreedomsop.com, thefreedomsop.com. Hey, and those of you that don't have your cameras on, I encourage you to turn it on because it's just so much better to coach people and not names. I mean, it's so much more motivating to see your pretty faces. So once you get to the Freedom Achievers Coaching platform, or you go to thefreedomsop.com, I'm going to bring up an incognito window so you can see what that looks like. So freedomsop.com. You'll come to this website right here, and it will give you some explanation of the coaching platform and some testimonials and stuff like that. Then down here, it says choose a plan. If you don't want to read all this stuff in the middle, just click right here, choose a plan. It'll take you right to the bottom. I got one plan. It's free, right? Eventually, there will be a charge to this plan, but as you guys have already signed in and registered, you guys will never pay a dime for anything in this platform. Okay. So that's my goal. My goal is to get, the original goal was 1,000 agents. So my wife is making me do 500, happy wife, happy life. You get here and you can sign in using your Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, or Apple, or you can just create an account however you see fit. Once you do that, you're going to get to this. And so this basically, I'll refresh it so it's the newest piece, but this basically is our community. This is our platform. This is for us. This is the Freedom Achievers Coaching platform. If you join my coaching, you're a part of my coaching platform and you're listening to what I'm saying, you're a Freedom Achiever in my eyes, right? And so here you're going to start to see a community feed. And so our coaches post in here, but a lot of agents will also post in here. Right. And so you'll see comments like I'll learn certain new things. And the other day, I was taking a course that I'm taking, and they said that if you write a Facebook ad, that no matter how small or big you are, if you write a Facebook ad and you make a claim on that Facebook ad, such as, if you join my team, you will sell more real estate. Or if you use my system, you will get 10 more deals this year. Or if you come join me, you will have a chef and a driver by next year, because you'll make so much money, right? These are staking claims, and the FTC, I'm sorry, is watching this. And so if you guys are familiar with Frank Kern is a top like marketing guy, coach, everything else, was fined $300,000 for these types of making claims ads, right? And so he learned it better and faster than most of us will. And the biggest thing was, you're not too small for them to go after, right? So if you're a brand new agent and you're saying, if you work with me, I guarantee you will find your house in 30 days or less, that's staking a claim, right? So be very careful with that. So let's not get sidetracked, but we pull cool information in there just like that. I do a lot of live videos and things of that nature, and I put them in here. Okay, next piece of this is you can invite folks to it right here on the left side. You click invite, there's a link, and you can invite people to come join you on the platform for free. Then the next piece is courses. And here inside of the courses is where you will find the 2022 weekly freedom coaching courses. Obviously, we'll add another one, 2023, right? Or we might just take out the year and put weekly coachings, right? And if you go inside the course, everything we've ever recorded is in here, okay? So if you go, like for instance, last week we talked about sniper follow-up on your sphere of influence of past clients, and we talked about the system frogman follow-up, which I showed to everybody last week. Hopefully you guys signed up to frogmanfollowup.com. And basically you just click on the video, you can watch it from the beginning, and it's there. And you can actually, in some of these, right, you could take biggest takeaways from the Recon, and in all of this information, you've got all these different platforms. Here's where it gets better. Over the next couple months, we're going to be loading. When I tell you loading, we are loading a ton of video content in here. Okay. When I say a ton, I want you to see all the topics I've come up with. These are all the topics that we'll be creating video for inside of this platform. And as you can see, we're approaching the 200s now. And now we're in the 300s, and we've stopped at 357. If you take away a couple of titles, we're about 350 topics that we're going to be creating video for. Everything will be in here. Where? Right here. All these different titles will have multiple videos inside of them. Some of them already have some. I think we already finished competition in real estate. You can open up the course, and there it is, right? We did a mastermind in the summer of last year. There's the replay for the Freedom Achievers Mastermind summer of last year. It was a 3-day mastermind here in Florida, in South Florida. And we have every speaker cut up so that way you could see every single person that taught a course that day. Right? And so you can go in and listen to their topics and everything under the sun. The panel was the best one. If you want to watch the panel, that was really cool. If you ever come to one of my masterminds, well, I might scare some of you guys right now, but if you ever come to one of my masterminds, at the end of the mastermind, we create a panel of 3 or 4 seats, and everyone answers a question on the panel. And when you finish your question, you have to get up from your seat and choose a random person in the room, and now they have to take the seat. So we do we call it a rotation panel or a rotating panel, but it allows everyone to really discuss their takeaways, biggest pieces that they're going to implement, and things of that nature. So I see a lot of familiar faces. How you doing, everyone? Welcome, welcome. That's where you can find those videos. All right, let's go ahead and type in the chat group. It's a Freedom Day. If you haven't yet, it is a Freedom Day. That's why we're here. We're trying to build freedom in everything that we do. And no matter what your major goals are, it all boils down to freedom, ladies and gentlemen. You're trying to be free. You're trying to have the freedom to do whatever it is that you have decided is important for you to do in your life. Okay. Now, what is a business plan? Let's talk about that real quick. because a lot of folks will come to me and they'll say, Dave, listen, I do really well in real estate, but, I just go and I do it, man. I talk to people all the time. And since I talk to people all the time, they just give me business. And then I do the business and I get paid and I talk to more people. You know what? There's nothing wrong with that, but there's no plan there. And because there's no plan there can't possibly be growth. That person will continue to run in that hamster wheel consistently over and over and over again. And they won't be finding growth, or they won't be taking their business to the next level. So how do we take a business to the next level? We plan for it accordingly. Now, in order to plan, one of the first steps that I will tell you is your first step is to know where you are. Now, why do you think this is important? Type it inside the chat box. Why do you think knowing where you are today before you begin planning for next year is helpful? Just type whatever you think in the chat box. I'm gonna wait for you. Now, for those of you with your cameras off while you're typing, turn those cameras on. I want to see you. Benchmark. That's a good one. Who else? What else? Clarity gives projection. That's good. Always know your numbers, 100%. Right? Can't know what you need to do. Yes, I agree with you, Martha. You can't know what you need to do if you don't know where you are, right? Or how the old saying is, you can't get to where you're going if you don't know where you're standing, right? All right. You got to have a goal. Absolutely. You must have an understanding where you're starting at. Yes. To know where you're going. Yes. All of you guys are correct. All of you guys are correct. In order for you to say next year, I want to GCI $1 million next year, you need to know if you're even anywhere near in the ballpark today. And what the perfect time to do it right now, we're at the end of 2022, you can evaluate all of last year. So here's task number 1 to development. And you see, I'm jumping right into this. I know I said we were going to talk about what is a business plan, important business plan. I think you guys get it. We're going to keep going because there's so much to cover today and next week. Same time, same bad channel. There's so much to cover that we really need to task out. And I really want, this is recorded, but I really want you guys to write down as much as possible, okay? Now, the first thing you need to do is I want you guys to create your budget for the entire year. Some of you have one, most of you don't. Now, what does your budget comprise of? I want you to split it up, personal and business. And I want to know, or I don't need to know, but you need to know, right? We need to know what our income was and what our expenses were. Did we gain or did we lose? Okay. And when you know where your income is, I want you to know where the income came from. So I want you to break up your income. Where did it come from? You have no idea how helpful this is going to be as you continue to build out your plan, okay? Where did your income come from? Now, what do I mean by this? Well, some of you have a couple different businesses, right? Some of you have multiple streams of income. So you're going to have, maybe some of you have investment properties. Maybe some of you are earning a little residual income, right? Maybe some of you guys are actually selling real estate and get some commissions. So you got commissions, right? And so all of these things are going to be helpful for you to know when you're planning out next year, because you're going to know where your money came from. And if you know where your money came from, then it puts you in an opportunity to advance on the pieces that worked for you. i.e., if I say, my investment properties made me X amount of dollars, my residual made me X amount of dollars, and my commission made me X amount of dollars, I get to decide where and what I'm going to work on next, right? So if I'm enjoying residual income, would it make sense to say that recruiting is going to be a big part of my plan for next year? Yes or no? Type it in the chat box. Yes. 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 All right. Just so we're in the same page, right? Just so we're on the same page. If you made a GCI of $250,000 and you realize that, and you know what the crazy part is? I coach people one-on-one, right? And I get them to do their budget in the first month that we're working together. I can tell you 99 times out of 100, they look at it and go, Jesus, I didn't know I made that much money this year. Right? Because again, they're like, I talked to this person, I talked to that person, this person gives me a deal, I go do it, I close it, I move on to the next one, right? So they're just running rampant. They have no idea how much commission they're actually earning on real estate sales. Now, if I love this 250 number and I want to make it 375 next year, so I'm trying to give myself some realistic goals, right? If I make it 375 next year, right? Do you agree that now selling real estate becomes a part of my business plan? Yes or no? Type it in the chat box. Yes, 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 yes. All right, so we're all on the same page. All right, so I'm enjoying that we're all on the same page, right? Because I like to ask these questions, by the way. First of all, I love your engagement. Second of all, I want to make sure that somebody, somebody says no, I want to dive into that, right? All right, so understanding this is going to be a huge benefit to planning out next year because you'll know where your money is. Now, here's the other part, expenses. Which ones were personal and which ones were business? Now, with your business, this is what you do with your business expenses. You break them down and you group them. So let's say one of your business expenses is an assistant. And let's say one of your business expenses is Google PPC. And let's say another business expense is Zillow. I know I just said a bad word. Sorry, y'all. Right? Let's say these are your business expenses, right? Here's where this is going to become extremely beneficial. To be able to say, where do you need me to move the microphone, Amanda? Let me know. Or Jeff, where at? Am I okay? Is it in the way?
Yeah, you can't see anything. So, yeah.
All right. Is that better?
Oh, it's perfect.
All right. Awesome. Thank you. All right. So with having an understanding of where your expenses are going, where your money's going, right? Now you get to determine what your ROI. Anybody know what ROI stands for? Type it in the chat box. What does the ROI stand for? Return on investment. Awesome. Glad we're on the same page. Your ROI is a return on investment. I use another term as well because we're going to talk about this a little bit. I use ROT. And ROT in my coaching world stands for return on time. All right. And we're going to talk about that a little bit today too. Okay. So now, if I have an assistant, PPC, and Zillow, I can take my PPC numbers and I could say, okay, I'm spending $1,000 a month on PPC. PPC is pay-per-click campaigns on Google, right? Facebook, Instagram, so forth, so on. And I could say, I'm spending $1,000 a month on PPC campaigns, which equates to $12,000 a year. And I could look at my income, and if I broke it down right, I could say these 5 or 6 deals came from those campaigns. And each deal paid me $6,000, right? Just using round numbers here. And I have 5 of those. And I made $30,000. 6 times 5 is 30, right? So I made $30,000 on the 6 deals that I spent $12,000 to get. Does that return on investment work for you guys? Yes or no? Yes, that's a good return on investment. Think about that, right? Now, the rule on ROI, especially when it comes to lead flow, is 4 times your money, right? So can we say that if I spend the same amount of money next year, I can expect the same results? Yes or no? Maybe. I like that. I like that, Debbie. Maybe. Now, here's why. If you do better on returning calls and following up with the leads and taking your CRM seriously and so forth and so on, you probably get 3 or 4 more deals. If you get complacent, you get lazy about it. It all depends on us. It's all that ROT, right? If you get lazy and complacent about it because you assume that it's going to happen again, you might do 2 or 3 less deals. Okay. If the market changes a little bit, the numbers might change. For instance, super hot market just 6, 7, 8 months ago, right? If I spend $1,000 on lead flow on PPC, I got a lot of buyers. Today, you might not have the same results. However, back then there was a lot less inventory than there is today. So does it make sense for me to still spend the money? Yes, as long as I can calculate my return on investment. Now, there's a lot to think about when you talk about return on investment. This is why this exercise is so good, because you could say, I spent $1,000 a month and I closed 1 deal and I made $6,000 from that platform. Was it worth it? Now, most of you will immediately say, no, it wasn't worth it because I'm negative $6,000, right? But the truth is that this allows you to take a step back and go, okay, why didn't it work? You guys know the movie I'm talking about. The leads don't suck, you suck, right? So you get to take a step back and you get to say, okay, I did Google PPC and I need to be honest with myself. When those leads came through and they hit my CRM, I didn't call them till the next day, or I didn't call them till an hour later, or I wasn't very responsive, or the person that said, hey, I can't speak right now because I'm at work. Can you call me after 5? I didn't call back. Or I depended on someone else to do that follow-up and it didn't work out, right? And so it gives you an opportunity to make a decision on whether or not you can continue that lead flow and then hold yourself accountable and responsible for turning that lead flow into a positive, or you can make a decision to cut it for multiple reasons. Maybe you don't believe in the system. Maybe you don't believe in the company that's hosting your PPC. Maybe you don't believe that you'll be able to hold yourself accountable. And that, hey, listen, if you feel like you're not going to do the work, don't freaking spend the money. That makes sense to y'all, right? Yes or no? Type agree if you believe. Agree. Type agree if you believe. Awesome. All right. So as you can see, this exercise is crazy beneficial in so many formats. Sorry, excuse me. I got like erasers and markers and everything everywhere, guys. Sorry. This exercise, this opportunity, it's very difficult to plan for next year if you don't do this. Now, some of you are newer agents, you might say, Dave, I didn't spend any money on lead flow. I didn't spend any money. Okay, cool. Where'd you get the leads from? And should we double down on that? Right? Like if you're the agent that gets the majority of your business because you go to Publix every day shopping with your jacket and your jacket says, you know, Patty Bosco team on the back, I sell real estate, and you wear that every single day to Publix and to the park, and you walk your dog in the same park every day and you go to the same Publix every day at the same time. I know an agent that does this in Miami Shores here in Miami. She is legitimately the queen of her area. She walks her dog in the same area. She's lived in the same house for 30 years. She goes to the same, she literally told me, I do not go shopping for the week. I go shopping for the day. She goes to Publix to buy food for the day. Okay, guys? Because it forces her to go back every single day and say hi to the cashier and what's up to the manager and hello to everyone that lives in her community that she will see over and over and over and over again. She's got the bus benches in her neighborhood. Okay. She is the one. Right. But even then, that's how she was getting her business for a long time. And then somebody snuck up on her and started taking market share from her. You know how they did it? They started doing digital marketing campaigns to the neighborhood and started sending postcards to the neighborhood. They upped their game. They stepped into the marketing route. While she got stuck in relationship world, they stepped up into the marketing world. And they used the marketing to step into her market and create new relationships for themselves. This is an opportunity where you get to stand back and go, okay, I need to understand that change will come, and I need to pay attention to what's happening around me. We call those the threats to your business. It's a part of your SWOT analysis, which we'll talk about in a second. Okay. Now, the next thing I want you guys to do is, once you understand this, you'll have an understanding of what your income was. You'll have an understanding of what your expenses were. You notice how I wrote EXP and then I didn't leave it there. I wrote the whole word expenses. Just putting that out there. All right, income, you know what your expenses are. You know what your expenses are. You know where your business came from. You know the return on investment in the marketing that you've been doing. Here's the fun part. You even know if you eat out too much. Because remember, we were doing personal and business, right? And the beauty of this is that if I can get you to do this, if I can get you to do this one thing, I would challenge you to do this every quarter. Every quarter, right? So right now you're going to do it for next year because you need to understand last year so you can move into next year. But come end of March, first week of April, do it for January, February, March. It's so much easier to figure this out on a quarterly basis. Also, you can understand where your goals are for the year and understand if Q1 falls within those goals. For instance, if I want to make $400,000 this year, I know that the income should be somewhere around $100,000 a quarter, right? And so I could finish Q1 and say, how much did I make? And I can make a decision based on that. If I made $70,000 in Q1, well, then I can say, okay, I'm short 30K. What can I tweak or adjust? What's working for me? What's not working? Same exercise, same exercise. What's the return on investment on these things? What's working? What's not working? What can I tweak to get the extra 30K? Where do I need to put in more time, effort, experience? Do I need to learn something new? Do I need to add something? Do I need to bring somebody on to pick up this extra lead flow that I can't handle? I just can't. I'm human. It's okay to say that, by the way. Right? And then once you have those decisions, you go into Q2 and you hit Q2. And then in Q2, you make 120K. Well, you're still not on track. You're 10K short, but you surpassed your 100K mark and you made up for the first quarter a little bit. You see where I'm going with this? And now it helps you make better decisions moving forward. Now, let's say at the end of Q1, you make 130K. Well, you have two choices at that point. You could say, I love what I'm doing. This is working. I made 130K. So I'm going to up my goal another 30, 60, 90, 120K. And instead of 400, I'm going to go 520. Because if I can make 130 in the first quarter, then I think I can make 130 each quarter, following my same systems, following my same madness and method. And it's okay to get flexible with that. It's 100% okay to get flexible with that. Right? Now, I'm not a big fan of lowering your goals. So when you lower when the goal falls short, figure out ways to step up to the plate. But some of you may have what I call life happens. Some of you may have a life experience that will require you to step down a little bit. And I just want to say there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with saying, okay, my goal was 400, but now my mother's sick. And I have to invest time into helping my mother and taking care of her. Therefore, I'm going to calculate this time and I won't be able to do A and B, but C, D, and E still work for me. I can handle that. And if I do that, well, let me base it on Q1 or Q2 whenever life happens and see how much I've made, putting in all my efforts on both platforms, mom and work, and life and kids. And then you get to determine where you need to be for the rest of the year. And that's okay. I would never take that away from you. But if life is not completely destroying you, you got no reason to lower your goals. You have every reason to step up to the plate. And that comes from here. Okay? So now, once you have all this information, it allows you to do what I call the major goal settings. Okay? Now, those of you that have heard, those of you that have been in the business for a while and have been to enough coaching classes, you understand a 1-3-5 or a 5-3-1. Okay? Now, I'm going to show you how my method is. Set your major goals. Here are the major goals. GCI, unit count, right? Personal, and whatever else is more important, whatever else is super important to you. So let's say I want my gross commission income to be $400,000 this year. Now we can come up with unit count based on that goal. How do we come up with that unit count based on that goal? If my goal is $400,000 in 2023, what's the average price per home in my neighborhood or in my market or where I sell? Right? So I'm gonna grab my calculator because math was my strong suit, right? I'm gonna grab my calculator here. Now I'm gonna say, let's say the average home is $450,000 in my neighborhood. And in the last year, because I did my homework and I looked at what I did, well, my average sale was around 450. So I'm following the market trend for my hood, right? So now I come over here and I go, if a $450,000 house is paying me 3%, and I'm just going around numbers. I know some of you are like 3%. My neighborhood's at 2.5, 2.7, right? If you're at 3%, let's just go for round numbers. A $450,000 house will pay you $13,500. Now, I'm going to take $400,000 and I'm going to divide it by $13,500, and that number is 29.62. 29.62 is basically 30 homes. Okay. Now, if I need to sell 30 homes this year, I'm going to break this up. 30 homes divided by 4 is 7.5. So if I divide this by 4, it's 7.5. Why did I divide by 4? Anybody know? No. So Rob, so accounting for average split to the broker, we're working off GCI right now. Yes, per quarter, right? So basically saying every quarter I need to sell 7.5 homes, which means 7.5 divided by 3, which is how many months are in each quarter, is 2.5 homes. 2.5 homes a month I need to sell, which means if I divide that by weeks, I could really dumb that down to 0.6 per week. Okay. Now, half a home a week is basically a sale every 2 weeks. Sale every 2 weeks is 2 homes. Still not enough. So you're going to have to account for other parts that allow you to develop and create the extra 0.5 throughout the year. Okay. This is rudimentary math. The crazy part here is that people think there are folks in here. Look at this. I wrote. There are folks in here right now that are thinking, wow, $400,000 a year, that's a lot of money, right? And it is for most people, okay? But a lot of you think of it so much as an unreachable goal, when I just told you, you could do 2.5 homes a month at this price point at 3% and reach that goal. Now, Rob's question was, are we not accounting for the average split to the broker? In this situation, no, because we're talking about gross commission income, right? So that's why I wrote GCI up here, talking about gross commission income. If you're going to incorporate how much you pay to your broker, let's say you have a cap of $15,000 to your broker, if you're going to incorporate that, then you're going to have to make the adjustment necessary, right, to play the game. Now, this is something that I like to do. You don't have to. This is something that I like to do. I add 15% to my numbers when I'm setting big goals. How do you think I add 15% to my numbers when I set big goals?
Every single month that I knew nothing about.
All right, we got somebody unmuted. What do we got? All right, there you go. All right, why do you think I add 15%? I got 30 homes. 15% of 30 homes is 4.5. So my goal is going to be to 34.5 homes, or I'll raise that up to 35 homes. This is why I do this. Deals fall through. That's one reason, and we'll account for deals falling through as we dig deeper into how to calculate the goals next week, okay, or how to calculate the numbers next week. But the reason that I add that is because if you look up right now, wherever you are in your house, there's a ceiling, right? And if you say, I'm going to touch the ceiling, well, that's your limitation. You're going to jump up and you're going to touch the ceiling. Congratulations, you hit the ceiling, right? If I aim past the ceiling, I may be able to punch through it. I believe in aiming past the ceiling, right? Some people say 10x. We all know that guy, right? Grant Cardone, right? He'll say 10x your goals, 10x your goals, 10x your goals, right? And I add 15% so that I know if I want to do 30 homes, I'm going to do 30 homes. This is a very strong mental power, by the way. Okay. If a patient is told they have 6 months to live and they believe that they have 6 months to live, if there is proof and studies and science and stories behind it, where a patient is told they have 6 months to live and they do not believe it, and they say it's impossible, it's not true, I don't believe it, I'm going to try everything under the sun, and they go 18 more months. We've all heard the stories, we all know it. So why not apply that to our very own businesses? Why not apply and say, well, I need 30 homes to hit this number, but I'm going to aim for 35 because I want to punch through the ceiling. That makes sense to you guys? Yes or no? Chad, type it in the box. All right, so what we did right there, thank you. Yes, yes, yes. What we did right there was we created the very minute statement, the very minute steps to building this out. And the reason that we did that was because we want all of this to be broken down accordingly. So if you have your GCI, you want to break that down to the minute steps. And I can take this all the way to the day. I took this down to the week and we got to 0.6. If I'd have taken it to the day, it would have been a little ridiculous, right? But I could have gotten away with just taking it to the every 2 week section, right? And we would have known that we needed 1.25 every 2 weeks, okay? Now I want to take the next step. Whatever your next big goal is, open an office. Well, what's required to open an office? What are the 3 major things you need to do to open your own very own team office. Maybe you're a team leader and you want to have an office. What are the 3 major things you need to do? What to open an office? I need this much money. I need this location and whatever else it is. Then I want to take each one of those and break those down into 5 steps. This is your 1, 3, 5. Break those down into 5 steps required to hit each and every one of those smaller pieces. You guys ever heard the phrase, how do you eat an elephant? 1 bite at a time, right? This is exactly what we're trying to do here, because what happens is oftentimes we as human beings, we set big goals for ourselves. We listen to all these motivational videos, right? We listen to big coaches say big things. We listen to mentors say big things. We see people do big things, and we want to just go ahead and do those big things, right? In this situation, it allows you to do big things in small steps. It allows you to run the marathon 1 step at a time. Okay. And so as we begin to continue to build out these big goals, like, can somebody share a big goal with me? What's a big goal you have for 2022? Besides the income, we already kind of broke that down a little bit. But who's got a big goal for 2023 that they are willing to share? Daniel wrote the elephant challenge. We're not eating an elephant next year, bro. I'm not breaking that one down. Anybody got a big goal they want to share? Move to Naples. Carlos is great, bro. Carlos, where are you now? Can you unmute yourself?
What's up, David?
What's up, Carlos? You want to move to Naples?
Yes, sir.
By the way, that's got to go on your business plan, right? You understand that, right?
Yep.
All right, so move to Naples. Where are you moving from?
Miami.
Leaving beautiful Miami for beautiful Naples. I got you. You're trying to slow life down a little bit. I hear you.
Just a little.
Just a little. Okay. Let's just break this down together if we can. You don't mind?
Sure.
All right. Let's break it down to 3 things real quick. What would you say is one of the 3 things that need to happen to move to Naples? Let's think about this in 3 steps. If I accomplish these steps, I'm in Naples.
Say that again.
Let's break it down in a sense like this. If I were to accomplish these 3 steps, I'm in Naples already.
Double my income.
All right, so double my income. Why is that important?
Helps for, I guess, pre-qualification and stuff. Always helps to have extra money.
I love this. Pre-qual, savings, so forth and so on, right? Okay.
Mhm.
What else? What else needs to happen?
Rent my house.
Cool. Rent Miami home.
Yep.
You need a realtor?
Got one.
Rent my Miami home. All right. What else?
By
By the way, you can see how this gets you thinking, right?
Yeah.
The goal becomes reality because now you start putting steps to it.
Yeah. I identify a property.
Cool.
With that. Cool. Okay.
Identifier, can we say purchase a property? Because that's the
Sure.
real thing, right? Like identifying
Yeah.
one doesn't get you living in Naples. Buying one gets you living in Naples, right?
Yep.
So buy a Naples home. All right, so these are 3 good steps. Let's think about this for a second. And I'm gonna erase this other thing, right? Let's think about this for a second because we can play with this one. This is where it gets crazy simple, but we overcomplicate things, right? In order to rent my home, what do I need to do to it?
List it.
That's cool. List it. What else? Anything you need to fix in the house? Does it require attention?
No.
No? So no maintenance in the house. What else?
Done everything. I don't know. Take photos. I guess that would be part of the listing process, right?
It would be. We could break it down that way. But we're just writing shit down, right? We're throwing stuff on the wall here. That's why I love whiteboards. I'll whiteboard the hell out of anything, right?
I guess move out.
Yeah, that works.
It's
Unless you're trying
important.
to live with the folks moving in
Mm-hmm.
at a discount, right? Before you rent your home, should you should you be
Ooh, I like what Dave said, is put it in an LLC for asset protection.
yeah,
You
or
get landlord insurance. Okay.
LLC, get
Thank you,
insurance,
Dave.
right? Great stuff like that. In order to
Yeah.
purchase the property in Naples, I need to get pre-qualified.
Higher property manager. Uh-huh.
That makes sense,
Yep.
right? I need to have a down payment saved up. I'm assuming these two things right here fall right into double my income. Do they not? Right? And then I could say, buying Naples, identify a neighborhood or an area. Because not every area in Naples is exactly the same, right? So I might want to identify exactly where I want to be in Naples. This little exercise right here is what I want you guys to be working on this week. I want you guys to set up, first of all, understand last year. And then next piece is start developing your big goals and start breaking down to the most minute process you can. Because next week, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about implementing them into your time blocks. So step number one, and write this down, guys, or watch the repeat. But step number one, understand 2022. Income, expenses, where the money went, what was your ROI, what was your ROT, all that good stuff, okay? Everything we discussed. Once you have that understanding, I want you to set your 2023 goals. And in setting your 2023 goals, I want you to take an opportunity to look at those big goals. And please, for the love of Christ, make them big and lofty. Just make it fun, dude. Making 100K is not fun. Each and every one of you can get there. That is attainable in real estate. That's 4 deals. You know what I mean? But 250K, that's a little more fun. 400K is exciting. 700K is like, oh my God, right? So know where you were last year and give yourself a goal for next year. Make it realistic, but make it lofty. Have fun with it. This is a fun exercise, okay? And then I want you to break down those major goals into something extremely, extremely minute. Meaning I can break it down so much and so far that I can take each of these steps and implement them into my time blocks. And as long as I hit those markers on the time block provided, I will accomplish my major goal. It's like saying my major goal is to walk from Miami, Florida to New York City. Why would I do that? Well, I want to raise $1 million in charity in the process. How long do I have to do it? I'm going to give myself 6 weeks to make the walk. Okay, let's break it down. What are the things I need to do to make $1 million in charity? Well, I need to build a website. I need to have a charity fund to put the money into in a bank account, right? I need to do those things, put those things in place. Then I need to create massive marketing behind it and let people know that I'm actually doing this. Because if I go for that walk and nobody knows I'm freaking walking, it ain't gonna work. So implement marketing into your lofty goals. How will you be marketing? Will you be getting more into social media? Will you be getting et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? So I take this and I go, okay, how do I walk from here in Miami to New York City? This is one step at a time. What do I need to do it? I probably need a good pair of sneakers. If I'm doing it now in December, it might be a good idea to get some warm clothes in my backpack and a sweater and a jacket because I'm gonna hit some cold weather, a hat. If I'm doing it in the summer, maybe I should have a bladder with tons of water in it, a bigger hat to cover me from the sun and protect me, an extra pair of shoes, change of socks every day, thought processes, right? Should I maybe go for a walk one day and see how long it takes me to walk 5 miles, 10 miles, so that I can calculate the mileage, right? These are all the steps, okay? So find your major goals. What are your major marketing goals? What's your GCI goal? What's your unit count goal? What's your team goals? Maybe you're trying to build a team next year. What does that team look like? Create those large goals and then break them down. In order to have this much income, I need to accomplish these major pieces, these 3 things. And then from those 3 things, I'm going to take that and I'm going to break them down into 5 or 4 different things. And each of those steps, I'm going step by step and I'm breaking it down, working my life backwards as if I already made the 400K and look back at what I did to get there. If you need help with this kind of stuff, shoot me a DM or an email, guys. I always answer them and I always answer the questions. Okay. And when you see that opportunity in front of you, then next week, we're going to talk about how to take those small, minute steps and implement them into a time block so that your time block can help you reach those major goals. We're going to talk about transaction and financial goals and how to break down the numbers. And we're going to talk about step-by-step, making it easy process next week. Now, your third and final task, and I'll answer your question, Patty, here in a second. I see you wrote some stuff in there. Your third and final task, okay, is to identify non-negotiable time blocks. The reason I want you to identify these things is because when we begin time blocking you on a Google Calendar and understanding what next year is going to absolutely look like for you, okay, I want to know what your non-negotiables are. I'll tell you what mine are so that they're helpful to you. Friday mornings at 10 a.m., I get a haircut. Now, some of you are going to laugh at this. I don't really have much hair to cut, okay? But that I work probably somewhere between 12 to 18 hours a day, Monday through Thursday. On Friday, I take a minute and I breathe. I go get a haircut. From 12 to 3, I fill that in with Zoom calls or meetings or something like that. At 3 o'clock on Fridays, I shut off for the day. That is non-negotiable for me. That's Shabbat. That's my Shabbat, right? So Friday at 3 o'clock, I shut off. Do I take a couple phone calls? Yeah. If one of my team area managers reaches out to me and says, we have a deal that is blowing up right now and the closing is not going to happen and it was scheduled for right now, I might get on that phone call, right? But if it's something that can wait till Monday, it will wait till Monday. That's a non-negotiable for me. Gym time, non-negotiable for me. And the crazy part is I can tell the difference. If I don't go to, you will be able to tell the difference. If I don't go to the gym on a Thursday morning, when I come here, my class sounds like this, and you can do this, and you could do that, and we could go here, and we could go there. When I go to the gym, though, I'm like, oh my God, let's go, right? It's a very different feeling, and you feel it, and you know it, right? So that's non-negotiable for me, okay? Volleyball games with my daughter. She plays volleyball. She's getting really good at it. Probably good chance that she gets a scholarship for volleyball. And she ain't even that tall. She just hustles. And I love it. And yes, I am the guy in the stand screaming at the coaches and the umpires and all that stuff, right? That's a moment for me so that my daughter, no matter what happens in life, can grow up and say, dude, he was at every game. Does that make sense to you guys? Right? Those are non-negotiables for me. Believe it or not, I can create those non-negotiables and build a life and a business around that. So what are your non-negotiables? They can be family related. They can be you related, right? I've got a coaching student right now that says her meditation at the park is non-negotiable. Cool. Let's put that in the calendar as a non-negotiable time block, right? So understand, I want you to identify those non-negotiables. Now, let me come to some of these questions because I'm keeping you. We got 3 minutes left and you know how it is. All right, my steps to my big goal is finish and close on rehab in Bradenton, take cash. I already have a Tampa pad. I'm already marketing to find my next rehab. Good deal on Longboat Key. My cash will take me to more visits to friends up in NYC. Multiply my cash on gigs, build my influence channel, and continue investing in reach marketing. All right, so Patty, looking at this, I'm loving it, right? So you could break down these pieces, right? Think about this. How many rehabs do you want to do next year? That's a big goal. How do you identify those rehabs and what's required in order to purchase those rehabs, and what goes into marketing and figuring out those rehabs, and then how they go back on the market, and what your requirement is for a return on investment on that rehab in order for it to make sense. Those are all the pieces you break it down to, because we can take that, now we can time block the requirements. Well, I need to spend X amount of hours a week on research to find the right units. And then I need to spend X amount of hours a week going to these units and checking them out. And I need to spend X amount of hours a week. I get guys that do bandit signs, that they're rehab guys, right? And flippers and wholesalers, they do bandit signs all over the town. We'll buy your house cash, call me now, right? So all these different opportunities create that. Now, multiply my cash in gigs, build my influence channel. Cool. What do you want your influence channel to look like? How many videos will you have by the end of 2023? How many subscribers will be subscribed to your influence channel? And how do we do that? So if I say I want to have 100 videos on my YouTube channel by the end of 2023, cool. What channels are you going to create, or what playlists are you going to create? A rehab playlist, a real estate playlist, how to work with buyers, working with sellers, you know, things to do when selling your house, like make 10 videos on things to do when selling your house, cut your grass, clean your yard, look at this, look at that, you know, check out the paint, you know, declutter the home, you know, those things. Those are all videos you can create that are attractive. Now, do I take a course to understand how to better market my videos? And do I have to implement that into my time frame? Do I need to understand hook titles, content creation? Do I need to spend some time educating myself on that? And then if this is on YouTube, how do I promote my YouTube channel to gain more subscribers? And if my subscriber goal for next year is to have 1,000 people, well, then how many is that a week? Can you break that all the way down so that you know at the end of each month, okay, I'm not hitting my subscriber goal. What video do I need to create with what hook, with what picture that comes up front as a thumbnail, and how much money do I need to put behind it so they can get in front of more people and more people will subscribe to my channel? And do I need to now go do YouTube shorts, because YouTube is pushing shorts out to people? And so do I go to my main videos, the big videos, and do I just cut out 60 seconds of each one and make them all shorts so that I can continue to gain subscribers? The answer to that is yes. All of it is yes, but how do you time it out? Where do you put the time? How is it scheduled out? Like, for instance, right now, I just showed you guys the Freedom Achievers platform, right? By the end of January, our intention is to have those 367 videos up and running. So how many videos do I need to accomplish and create this week, next week, the week after, and then the 4 weeks of January? That lets me know. So if I don't create the 50 videos that I need to create this week, well, I'm really behind schedule and I've overshot my deadline, because that means next week I got to do 100 just to catch up. And you and I know 100 videos is not easy to do in 1 week. Not when you're trying to build coaching and do real estate and run a team, right? So these are the pieces that I want you to identify and break down, okay? Let's see, don't let the understanding stop step 2. I have done that before. There are basic numbers you can use if you don't know yours or didn't keep good enough track of them. For example, every 50 person you qualify. Are they ready, willing, and able? Yes. So we're going to get into that next week, which is awesome. Thanks, Patty, for bringing that up. Because when we talk about how many units need to be sold every week or every month, From there, we're going to determine how many actual meetings you need to have in order to sell that many. And from there, we're going to determine how many actual conversations you need to have that many meetings. And from there, we're going to determine how many phone calls or text messages or DMs you need to send to have that many conversations. And from there, we're going to even calculate how much lead flow is required to come your way in order to have that many people to call, in order to have that many conversations, in order to have that many meetings, in order to have that many closings. And I know it sounds complicated, but it's not. There are statistical numbers up there. We're going to pull them up next week. We're going to talk about them, and you will be surprised how little you actually need to truly work to accomplish the goal that we have put up here. It's very simple to understand. The problem is people hear it, they see it, they plan for it. You know what they don't do? Take actions. They don't take action in it, right? Time blocking is huge. Thank you. Non-negotiables, time blocks have my biggest challenge. They're a big challenge. The one thing to remember is when you're creating time blocks, and we'll get again more into this next week, but when you're creating time blocks, you're going to have your non-negotiables, and then you're going to have what I call your flexibles, right? The trick with the flexibles is not to go, well, since it's a flexible, I'm not going to do it at all this week, right? And we, unfortunately, we are agents running our own businesses, and in running our own businesses, we only give ourselves the accountability that we give ourselves, right? So unless you've officially hired somebody to hold you accountable, or you've elected to hold an accountability buddy, let's say Patty calls Matt, Matt calls Patty, and once a week they go, did you do this? You didn't do it? Cool, you owe me $50, right? So those are the kinds of things we talk about. For instance, I was on the phone the other day with Kelly Wheeler. Some of you may know him, right? Kelly Wheeler wants to build 1,000 people by the end of next year. That's his organizational kind of goal, you know? And I told Kelly, I'm going to beat you to the 1,000 mark just to mess with him. And he said, you know what? We're going to have once a month a call, and we're going to see where we're at. And whoever hits 1,000 first gets a free Ruth's Chris dinner on the other one. I'm in. Problem is he messed up, because I think Ruth's Chris closed in South Florida. So we're going to go to an even better place. Right? All right, guys. Does anyone have any questions for me? I'll take this opportunity. We're 5 minutes over schedule. This is a deep one. I know it's business planning. We're 5 minutes over schedule. Does anyone have any questions for me? You can unmute yourself, ask right now. I'll be happy to take them.
Yes, David?
Yes, Debbie.
Hi. Yeah, I'm sorry. When you were giving the list of items to do for your goal settings, a call came in and I took it. So I kind of missed that some of the things you said. I wrote down, you said set your goals and then have your non-negotiable time blocks, but I didn't know.
All right, so with the goals, what we were talking about is taking those goals and breaking them down to the steps required to hit those goals and making it so minute, right? Like that you're working yourself backwards. So almost like breaking it down to where we can figure out what's required to do on a daily basis to hit my weekly goal, to hit my monthly goal, to hit my quarterly goal, to hit that big yearly goal. And that's what I want you to do. I want to break down those big goals.
Dave, if you move your whiteboard, you have a breakdown of what to make $1 million.
Sorry. Right. No, I already erased that part.
No. You have a thing in the back. You have a poster in the back on your wall.
Oh, you're talking about my poster.
Yeah.
It's a secret to my poster, guys. And I'll share it with you guys. So I bought this poster up here. It says $1 million a year is $83,333 a month, which is $19,230 a week, which is $2,739 a day. Now, when this poster disappears from my office, that means that I've accomplished this goal. That's my little secret behind this poster. Now, here's the crazy part though. It has to come, these are my personal goals. It has to come from my coaching and real estate sales business. Can't come from anything else, no investments, no nothing like that. And two, it needs to happen 12 consecutive months in a row. So if I have a $120,000 month and then next month I have a $50,000 month, well, I didn't hit the 83.333. So it has to happen 12 months in a row for me. Those are my accountability standards. But that's it right there, guys.
Nice, thank you.
Of course. Anybody else got any questions that they want to jump in on? All right, guys. Y'all take care. Appreciate you. Next week, we do this same time, same channel, okay? See you guys then.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Take care, guys.